Hello guys, welcome back. I'm Yusuf Shakeel and you are watching CSS tutorial series. In this video, we are going to learn how to style tables. So let's get started. Alright, so I have opened brackets and now I'll go ahead and create a new file inside the project folder. And I'll save this as table.html. And I'll write the following HTML code. So we have the doc type HTML, opening and closing HTML tag, opening and closing head tag, and we have set the title for this page to table. Now inside the CSS folder, we'll go ahead and create a new file and we'll save this as table.css. Now inside our HTML file, inside the head, we'll include this table.css file. So we'll write link rel and we'll set this to style sheet href and we'll set this to css/table.css. And now we'll open this in live preview. The first property that we are going to discuss is the border property. And we use this property to set the border for an HTML element. So let us go ahead and create a table and set the border for that table. So inside our body, we'll write table and let us give this table an ID sample-table1. Now inside this table, let us go ahead and create 3 rows and 3 columns. So I'll leave the first cell blank. The second cell is for header 1. The third one is for header 2. Now we have 2 more rows. And the first one is row 1. And it has 2 values. So value 1 and value 2. And we have another row. This is row 2. And it also has 2 values. So let's say value 3 and value 4. And now if you look at the output, we can see we have a table having 3 rows and 3 columns. And we have left the first cell, that is row 1 column 1, empty. Now let us go ahead and give this table a border. So inside our CSS file, we'll write hash. And since we are going to target this table having ID sample-table1, so we'll write hash sample-table1. And let us give this table a border of 1 pixel, solid hash 111. And now if you look at the output, this table has a border of 1 pixel, solid, and the color is hash 111. Now if we want to give this th element, which is inside this table having ID sample-table1, a border of 1 pixel solid hash 111, so inside our CSS file, we'll write hash sample-table1, and since th element is a descendant of this table, so we'll give space and then we'll write th and we'll give this a border of 1 pixel solid hash 111. And now if we zoom in, we have a border for the th elements. And similarly, if we want to give this td element which are also inside this table having ID sample-table1. And let's say we want to give this elements a border of 1 pixel solid hash 111. So we'll write hash sample-table1, and since td is the descendant of the table having ID sample-table1, so we'll write hash sample-table1 space then the element which is td, and we'll set the border to 1 pixel solid hash 111. And now if we look at the output, we can see the table and the elements th and td are all having 1 pixel solid hash 111 border. Now, since we are repeating the same property and same value 3 times, so we can merge this together by writing, let me comment this, and now we can write hash sample-table1 comma hash sample-table1 space the th element, then comma, then hash sample-table1 space then the td element, and now we'll give this a border of 1 pixel solid hash 111, and we get the same result. The next property that we'll discuss is the border collapse property, and we use this property to collapse the border into one single border. So let's say inside our HTML file we have another table, so let me copy this, and this table has an ID sample-table2, and let me give this a line break. So we have another table similar to the first one, and let us give this table sample-table2 same border like table 1. So we'll copy this and we'll paste it, and we'll change the value to table 2. So now this table having ID sample-table2 is now having border of 1 pixel solid hash 111. But if we look closer, we can see that we have some spacings between the borders. And in order to remove this spacing, that is, in order to collapse the borders into one single border, we use the border collapse property. So inside our CSS, we'll write hash sample-table2, and we'll set the border collapse property to collapse. And now we can see the border has collapsed into a single border. The next property that we'll discuss is the padding property. We use it to set the padding for the th and td element which are inside the table. So let's say inside our HTML file we have another table, so we'll go ahead and copy this and paste it, and let's say this table has an ID sample-table3, and it also has a class, let's say sample-table. And to target this table having class sample-table, inside our CSS file we'll write dot, since we're targeting a class, and we'll give the value of the class which is sample-table. So let us give this table having class sample-table a border of 1 pixel solid hash 111. So now this table has a border, and let us also give the th and td elements inside this table the same border of 1 pixel solid hash 111. So we'll write comma, and let me copy this. So we'll write dot sample dash table space th. So we are targeting the th element, and we'll also write dot sample dash table space td. So now if we look at the output, we can see this table and the element th and td are all having borders of 1 pixel solid hash 111. And if you want to collapse the border, then we'll write dot sample dash table, and we'll set the value of border collapse property to collapse. So these two style rules will be applied to any table having class sample dash table. So this will be applied to any table having class sample dash table. Now, to target this table having ID sample dash table 3, we'll write inside our CSS file hash sample dash table 3. And since we want to give the th and td element a padding, and let's say a padding of 15 pixels, so we'll write space th, and we are targeting the th element, and we'll set the padding to 15 pixels. Let me zoom out. So now the th elements are having a padding of 15 pixels at the top, right, bottom, and left. And if we want to give the same padding, that is padding of 15 pixels to the td element, then we'll write comma, then hash sample dash table 3 space td. And now the th and td elements inside the table having ID sample dash table 3 is having padding of 15 pixels. The next property that we'll discuss is the width property. We use it to set the width of the table. So let's say inside our HTML file, we have a table. So let me copy this and paste it. So let's say we have a table having ID sample dash table 4, and it has a class sample dash table, and we have 3 rows and 3 columns. So since this table has a class value sample dash table, so these two rules are applied. Now to target this table having ID sample dash table 4, we'll write hash sample dash table 4. And now let's say we want to set the width of this table to, let's say, 300 pixels. So we'll write width, and we'll set the value to 300 pixels. And now if you look at the output, you can see this table has a width of 300 pixels. And this is a fixed width, because if we increase or decrease the width of the browser, the width of the table remains the same. But if we want to give it a dynamic width, that is a width that changes as we increase or decrease the width of the browser or the width of the container in which the table is, so we'll set the width in percentage. So let's say we want to give this table a width of 100%. So we'll comment this and we'll set the width to 100%. And now this table has a width of 100%. So now if we increase or decrease the width of the browser, the width of the table will also increase and decrease. We can also set the height of the table by using the height property. So let's say inside our HTML file, we have another table. So we'll copy that and paste it. And let's say this table has an ID sample-table5. And it also has a class sample-table. And since this table has a class sample-table, so these two rules are applied to this table. And to target this table having ID sample-table5, we'll write inside our CSS file hash sample-table5. And now let's say we want to give this table a height of, let's say 100 pixels. So we'll set the height property to 100 pixels. And now this table has a height of 100 pixels. We can also align the text inside the table using the text align property. So let's say we have another table inside our HTML file, and the ID of this table is sample-table6, and it also has a class sample-table. So inside our CSS file, if we want to target this table having ID sample-table6, we'll write hash sample-table6. Now let's say we want to give this table a width of 100%. So we'll set the width property to 100%. And now let's say we want to set the text align property of all the th element to right. So we'll write hash sample-table6, and since we are targeting the th element, so we'll write space th, and we want to set the text align property to right, so we'll write text align property and we'll set this to right. And now all the text inside the th element is aligned at the right side. And let's say we want to align all the td element content at the center. So to target the td element, we'll write hash sample-table6, which is the ID of this table. And since td is the descendant of this table, so we'll write space td. And since we want to set the text align to center, so we'll set the text align property to center. And now if we look at the output, we can see the content of the td elements are now aligned at the center. We can also align the content of a th and td element vertically. So let's say inside our HTML file, we have another table, and let's say this table has an ID sample-table7, and it also has a class sample-table. So to target this table having ID sample-table7, inside our CSS file we'll write hash sample-table7. So this is our table 7. Now let's say we want to give the th and td element of this table a height of 50 pixels. So we'll write hash sample-table7 space th and hash sample dash table 7 space td, and we'll set the height property to 50 pixels. So now the th and td element of this table having id sample dash table 7 is now having a height of 50 pixels. And let's say we want to give this table a width of 100%. So we'll write hash sample dash table 7 and we'll set the width property to 100%. Now to vertically align the content of the th and td element of this table, we have to use the vertical align property. So let's say we want to vertically align the th element content to middle. So we'll write hash sample dash table 7, and since we are targeting the th element, so space th, and we want to vertical align the content of th element to middle, so we'll set the value to middle. Now we can also set the value to top and bottom. So let's say if we want to vertical align the content of the th element to bottom, so we'll comment this and we'll write vertical align and we'll set the value to bottom. And now you can see the content of the th element is now at the bottom. And if you want to align vertically at the top, so we'll set the vertical dash align property to top. And now the content of the th element is at the top. Similarly, let's say we want to align the content of the td element at the bottom. So to vertically align that, we'll write sample dash table 7, and since we are targeting the td element, so we'll write space td, and we want to vertical align the content of the elements at the bottom. So we'll write vertical align and we'll set the value to bottom. And now you can see the content of the td element of this table is now aligned at the bottom. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of this tutorial. I'll post the tutorial notes on my website tyclassroom.com, and all the code that we are writing in this tutorial series, I'll put them in my GitHub repository. You will find all the links in the video description, so feel free to check that out. And if you find this video interesting, then please give this video a like and please subscribe my channel. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and like always, stay happy and keep smiling. Bye.